Egypt's first king was murdered by his own brother, not with a blade, with a gift, a golden chest, measured in secret, to fit one body. His. They carved it in stone 4,000 years ago. The murder, the feather that judges every soul, and the king who came back. This is Osiris. Before the pyramids, Egypt was young and wild. Then came a king named Osiris, and his queen, Isis. Under their hands, the desert itself turned green. Remember that color. He walked his own fields, and wheat rose where his shadow passed. He gave his people music, law, a reason to look up. They called it the Golden Age, and everyone loved the king. Almost everyone. His name was Set, the king's own blood. Every feast. He stood in the shadows, watching Egypt chant his brother's name. And every cheer drove the knife deeper. Why Osiris? Why always Osiris? Jealousy is a patient animal. It doesn't scream. It waits. It watches. It measures. And Set had begun to measure. So Set threw a feast for his brother. Wine, music, laughter, and the loudest laughter was his. Then he unveiled his gift, a chest of cedar and gold, blazing in the lamplight. Whoever fits inside it perfectly keeps it forever. One by one the guests tried, too tall, too short. Then the king stepped forward, smiling, and lay down. The box fit him perfectly. Of course it did.
Cold on the throne, he fed the world its grain. His brother in the shadows went blind with hate and pain. A gift, he smiled, just lie inside and see. The lid came down like thunder, black as the sea. They sealed him in the dark, swore the king was done. But you can't cage the fire of the rising sun. Feel the ground start shaking, hear the war drums play. Here he comes. Rise again, rise again. Death will never hold this king, he'll rise again.
The gift was a coffin. The lid slammed. The lead was poured, and the river carried the king into the dark. When word reached Isis, her scream cracked the sky. She cut her hair. She dressed in mourning black. And then she stopped crying and made the river a promise. Every reed, every bank, every bend, until I find him. And she walked into the night. Alone. One torch against the darkness. Years. She searched for years. She asked fishermen. She asked children. She asked the birds in the reeds. And on a far, foreign shore, she found him. The chest, swallowed whole inside a living tree, as if the earth itself had tried to bury the crime. She pulled her husband from the wood and carried him home against the sunrise. She thought the nightmare was over. But something had followed her home that night. Set found the body, and his rage became something no god had ever seen. This time, there would be no chest, no river, no mercy. He tore the king into 14 pieces and hurled them to every corner of Egypt. The desert took one. The river took one. The mountains took the rest. A piece of the king everywhere, and the king himself nowhere. It looked like the end.
14 pieces scattered wide, 14 fires in the sand. Two sisters chased him across the world with a lantern in their hand. The jackal wrapped the linen tight, the incense held its breath. She loved him hard enough to march straight through the gates of death. Hold that door, don't let it close, I know what the ledger says. If his name still cuts the dust, then pull him back from where he rests. Weigh my heart against the feather. Light as truth, I paid the cost. The king who walked right through the dark is a king that death just lost. Rise again, rise again, Osiris.
14 pieces, a kingdom of hiding places, and one woman who would not stop. Isis and her sister Nephthys walked Egypt end to end, desert, river, mountain, until every piece of the king was found. Then came a god with the head of a jackal, Anubis. By lamplight and prayer, he bound the king in sacred linen. Whole again, the first mummy in history was not made for death. It was made for a resurrection. What happened next was never attempted again, by God or mortal. Isis became light, a falcon of pure gold, wings wider than the chamber, beating slow, like a heart. She bent over her husband and breathed her own life into his lungs. And for one heartbeat, the king opened his eyes. One heartbeat. That was all eternity allowed. But one heartbeat was enough. From that moment came a son, Horus. The name Set would learn to fear, but no god returns from death unchanged. Osiris could not stay among the living. He had crossed too far. So the gods built him a throne in the dark, not king of Egypt, king of eternity, and his skin turned green. Remember that color? The color he gave the world, the color of things that grow back. From that day, death was no longer a wall. It was a door, with someone waiting on the other side. Now, the feather, the one from the start, in the hall of the dead. Every human heart is placed on a golden scale and weighed against a single feather, the feather of truth. Life cruel, and the heart grows heavy, and the devourer below is always hungry. But a heart kept light walks into green fields that never end. One murdered king taught a civilization to be kind. No sword ever held that much power. Far away, hidden deep in the marshes, the sun was growing. His mother raised him on a single story. Your father was the king, your uncle is his murderer, and the throne of Egypt is stolen property. Horus grew up with a falcon's eyes, a king's heart, and one purpose burning behind both. Not revenge, justice. And the day he was strong enough, he walked out of the marshes to take it. Before the assembled gods, Horus demanded his father's crown. Set's answer was a spear. The war that followed lasted 80 years. Gold against shadow, nephew against uncle, the falcon against the beast. They fought as men. They fought as monsters. The Nile itself boiled beneath them. 80 years of war. And it all came down to one final dawn. Only one would wear the crown.
Rise again! Watch the falcon take the crown, he'll rise again! Scream his name through every age. Death's a door, it's not a cage. Love is stronger than the grave. Love is stronger than the grave. Rise again!
The sun won. The crown came home to the house of Osiris. Order defeated chaos. Love outlived death, and Egypt turned green again. Now, 3 things you may not believe. 1. It is over 4,000 years old, carved inside the pyramids. 2. Osiris was history's first mummy. Every mummy since copies this legend. 3. For 3,000 years, every pharaoh who died became Osiris, and every living king ruled as Horus. 4. 14 shrines rose across Egypt, one for every piece of the king. And 5. The secret from the beginning of this video. That tall pillar carved into every Egyptian temple, the Djed, is the spine of Osiris. Its meaning, in one word, stability. The king still holds Egypt up. A brother's jealousy, a wife's love, a son's justice, and a king who turned death into a door. That was Osiris. The ages are full of stories like this one. If this story moved you, subscribe to Melody of Ages, where history becomes music. We'll see you in the next age.